So in order to ban birds, we have to catch them first. So how do we do that? There are a variety of methods that bird banders use to capture birds. We use traps, which we will often use at places like at bird feeders. And in places where there's woodland or brush or open fields, we use something called mist nets. I'm standing next to one of our mist nets that we have set up here at the E.L. Johnson Nature Center. It is a fine mesh net. The mist nets were invented in China probably 1,000 years ago, and the intention then was to catch birds for food. These days, you can only own one of these if you have a license from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and a permission from the state DNR. So these are not available for people to buy because they're very effective at catching birds. Anytime we're not banding birds, we close up the nets and tie them with, you can see these orange streamers here that are holding the nets closed so that we don't accidentally catch any birds, because we don't want to have birds caught when we're not here to take them out. Whenever we open the nets, we have to go around every 30 minutes to make sure that we get all the birds out of them and that they're not in there stressing too much or having predators see them or anything like that. So we're very, very careful about how often we check the nets and the kinds of conditions that we open the nets in. So I'm going to open this net up so that you can see this long dark streamer here is going to disappear as if it's gone into the mist, which is why they're called mist nets. So you can see right here how fine these nets are. They're made out of nylon, which is a very tough material, so it won't break if a small bird goes in there, but if a large bird or a deer or a clumsy human walks into them, it can tear them very easily. So now you see the mist net is open and it has pretty much vanished from your view. There are 5 different pockets in these nets that help to entangle the birds when they fly into them. So we place these nets in areas where birds are flying around in vegetation, and they don't see the nets and they accidentally fly into them. So I'm going to use this bundle of bags here as a pretend bird to show you how a bird gets caught in a net. So the bird gets caught, it wiggles around, it gets tangled, and then every 20 or 30 minutes, the guides or a bird bander comes around and we untangle them and get them out, put them into a holding bag where we keep them safe and quiet until we bring them back to the bird banding station. These bags are made out of pillowcase material or regular cloth, even the kind of cloth that you're wearing as a face mask these days. So the birds can breathe in here quite easily, so they're very safe, and it keeps them still and quiet until we can get them back to the bird banding station where we can do our data collection and put the bands on. So I'm going to close this net back up right now, and you can see how we close them up nice and tight so that the birds can't get into them. So that's how mist nets work. So this is a closer look at what these mist nets look like. Very, very fine net. It's almost like a hair net. And the nets are 12 meters long, which is about 36 feet. And they're about 8 feet tall. So we can only sample birds that come down 8 feet. Any birds that are up in the treetops will occasionally come down lower, but some birds don't. So there's a limited ability to sample with mist nets, which is why we also use bird observation for those birds that we can't catch, so that we get a better picture of the kinds of birds that are here.